Buck versus Bell, 274 US 200, 1927. A court case dealing with sterilization of female inmates. What is it? As I stated not too long ago, Buck versus Bell was a Supreme Court case that dealt with the sterilization of inmates. Carrie Buck was a feeble minded woman who was committed to a state mental institution. Sterilization is a process which makes a person unable to produce offspring. In Virginia, state law allowed sexual sterilization to promote health. What is it? Continued. The state was doing this in order to promote health of the inmate and the welfare of society. Carrie Buck was required to do this procedure because her conditions was present in her family for the last 3 generations. She did not get a hearing to decide whether or not it was the best thing to do because her mental sickness is a part of her family for the last 3 generations. Now, all sterilization procedures by law requires a hearing to determine whether it is the best thing to do for that inmate or not. Why is it important? The importance of this case was based on what was best for the state. According to the Supreme Court, 3 generations were enough, and at that point, there was nothing Buck could have done to prevent her from this procedure. The procedure was already done, and in the court case, the Supreme Court case, the decision came down to an 8 to 1. As a reminder, this procedure was already done, and at this point, she was now fighting on the idea that prison officials violated her due process rights because she did not get a hearing. They just forcibly made her undergo this procedure. Why is it important? Part 2. It was also important due to the fact that the Supreme Court case, they mentioned that anyone under her circumstances, the state had the right to do the sterilization to that inmate because it was going to be the best interest of the state. One justice even said that was involved in this decision making, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. What does it have to do with justice? This case has many factors dealing with justice, one of which being it was the only case challenging the prison system in the Supreme Court on the idea that sterilization of female inmates without a hearing was a violation of an individual's due process rights. However, on that same note, the Supreme Court decided that this procedure was not in violation of the constitutional rights a person has. This Supreme Court case was cited in the Nuremberg trials, and it is mentioned in our text, Judgment at Nuremberg. Nazi defendants cited this case as part of their defense while on trial. Now, I believe that this case was cited as part of their defense because this case dealt with many factors dealing with the idea that due process was violated, and this was trying they were trying to incorporate this as part of their due process being violated. Now, moving on to my next slide, which is the sources. This is where I got my information to build up my presentation. Thank you.